To nuke, or not to nuke? I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I thought I would put this question out there for others to ponder. Are the words and actions of our leaders pushing us closer or further away from nuclear war? What do you think? I will only address those words and deeds spoken or carried out by American leaders in this post, because I can't and don't trust what news sources say about other world leaders and the countries over which they govern. According to the news, Russia invaded Ukraine without provocation. CNN and MSNBC imply or outright say Putin is a madman who wants to conquer most of Europe. These same news sources report on the war between Russia and Ukraine as if Ukraine is this innocent, fair, and upright country that only seeks the best for its people. But how can that be? Ukraine has basically killed off an entire generation of men for the right to join NATO and to continue bombing its own people in the Donbass region of Ukraine. The problem with Ukraine joining NATO is that Russia would have to endure NATO weapons being placed inside Ukraine, next to the Russian border. That would be like Russia putting missiles in Cuba, and we all know how that almost ended. As for Ukraine bombing its own people, well, that started back in 2014 after America helped Ukraine's current regime COO its democratically elected government. Back then, the people of the Donbass region didn't want to be ruled by a puppet government installed by the United States. So what did the new Ukrainian government do? Of course, they started doing things like bombing them and burning them alive in buildings in which they were trapped. This, though, is not when America's corporate news would have you believe the trouble started. Even though these same news corporations reported on the neo-Nazi problem in Ukraine back then, they would have you believe the war was started by Russia a couple years ago. For no reason at all. The problem is that Russia had only 3 demands to avoid war with Ukraine, and they were as follows. 1. Ukraine must not join NATO. 2. Ukraine must stop the bombing of its own citizens in the Donbass region, which has been occurring since 2014. Link below. 3. Ukraine must deal with its neo-Nazi infestation. Link below. Initially, there was an agreement to stop the Donbass war, which European leaders have admitted was a way to get Russia to let down its guard. And there were talks of peace to avoid a war between Russia and Ukraine until the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson told Ukraine not to accept it. Ironically, Ukraine would have maintained the land now lost to Russia and would have avoided the deaths of an entire generation of Ukrainian men. This, however, was never American leaders' concern, as Senator Lindsey Graham bragged about how the United States will fight Russia to the last Ukrainian. What a bargain! Also, let's not forget the Nord Stream pipeline being blown up by the United States as reported by one of America's most respected journalists. Sanctions, proxy wars, endless verbal attacks, and more, all aimed at Putin. Do these sound like actions that will move America and the world away from nuclear war? This sounds more like slapping the high school bully until he reacts, except that America is the bully in this analogy. So, America sends hundreds of billions of dollars in weapons to Ukraine, while more Americans become homeless and starve due to manufactured scarcity. All this while America's leaders declare that Russia wants to conquer Poland and other European countries. Now put this against the backdrop of Joe Biden not talking to Putin in an effort to stop the war, most likely because he would be labeled a Putin puppet or apologist. And add Biden's rhetoric about how Putin is an existential threat and all trends point towards nuclear war, not away from it. Then there's China. Once America's manufacturing partner, China has also become a threat to America by asserting its will over Taiwan, a country recognized international as a territory of China. Even the United States recognizes China's claim over Taiwan, but U.S. leaders like Nancy Pelosi brazenly defy this claim, regardless of the possibility of war. So that's 2 countries with nuclear capabilities that the U.S. seems intent on provoking. Please let me know what evidence you have that suggests America is trending away from nuclear annihilation. Until then, maybe we shouldn't be poking so many bears. Maybe a reminder would be appropriate here.
어이, 뭐, 뒷남아 선호라니. He, I don't feel so good, but let's continue. In 2018, Chris Osman wrote a book highlighting the problems humanity would face if more power, wealth, and control were funneled to a small cohort of individuals, groups, or organizations. In that book, Mr. Osman provided solutions from himself and others to the inevitable problems we would all face. In it, he also provided a means for the public to analyze, compare, and contrast the words and deeds of those we've chosen to follow against our real-world experiences. To this end, Mr. Osman provides the means for readers to disseminate information as provided by their news sources of choice, their elected officials, and any other authority they choose to follow. The book, titled Solutions, Enough Complaining, Let's Fix America, offers a means to hold leaders up to not just a higher standard than is currently accepted, but one that will improve lives. Avoid mushroom clouds. Click the link below and get your copy today.